Less than 2 years after the 2016 US presidential election, the Russians are at it again. The M word. This time, it's the US midterm elections in the crosshairs of Kremlin meddling.
Another Russian attack on our elections.
Syria's warning about Russian meddling in future U.S. elections.
They're also hacking or attempting to hack political campaigns.
Russia is at it again.
It's clear for all to see what happened. After all, how can one refute such a mass of sources?
Intelligence sources tell NBC News there is no doubt the Russians are trying to influence the presidential election.
A source tells NBC News.
Law enforcement and Democratic sources telling CNN.
Unidentified sources.
Two sources with links to the counterintelligence community.
Anonymous sources.
According to anonymous Washington Post source.
Now, we may not even have those to rely on. According to the New York Times, they've gone to ground, gone quiet. What's happened? There could be a couple of reasons. It's okay. The Times reassures us they've not been killed and aren't at risk yet. Although, says the article, Putin is intent on killing traitors and the Russians are willing to kill sources. Perhaps, they say, the assassination attempt on double agent Sergei Skripal has affected flows of intelligence. As with the meddling accusations, minimal evidence was also enough to expose the Kremlin's hand in that case.
Russia has long arms. Russia has lots of tentacles. We imagine that they will continue to have an interest in our elections, but also many other nations' elections as well.
We continue to see a pervasive messaging campaign by Russia to try to weaken and divide the United States.
The intelligence blackout could also be down to a fall in US operative numbers in Russia. The Russians kicked out a whole bunch of our people, laments a former CIA officer. A reference, of course, to Moscow's retaliation after dozens of Russian diplomats were first expelled from the United States. The Russian meddling saga even has the US president himself worried.
I'm very concerned that Russia will be fighting very hard to have an impact on the upcoming election. Based on the fact that no president has been tougher on Russia than me, they will be pushing very hard for the Democrats. They definitely don't want Trump.
But those unnamed officials can explain the logic. The Kremlin doesn't want a specific outcome anymore. Broad chaos is apparently the aim, despite no hard evidence of meddling past or future. It seems the narrative is getting old. Unnamed sources can only sound convincing for so long.
No. The Russia informants, they were definitely in that UFO that crashed. Or was it a meteorite? This is so confusing what the media told us.
Imaginary friends whisper in the ear of the New York Times.
Sources say New York Times makes up stories.
Now what if, as endless anonymous sources allege, Russia isn't busy tilting elections, sowing discord or spreading chaos? What if Russia isn't doing anything at all? Well, that would never make a thrilling read.